Willem van Aelst is often introduced as a master of still life painting, but that definition is far too narrow, because what he truly mastered was not the depiction of objects, but the orchestration of value. At first glance, his paintings seem quiet. Flowers arranged in elegant bouquets, game animals resting after the hunt, silverware catching subtle reflections. But beneath this calm surface lies a carefully constructed language, one designed to communicate wealth, taste, and control. Van Aelst worked during the Dutch Golden Age, a period when the art market was rapidly expanding. Unlike earlier periods dominated by church commissions, this was a time when private collectors dictated demand. Art was no longer just devotional, it became a commodity, a signal of status. And Van Aelst understood this shift perfectly. His still lifes are not random collections of objects. They are curated experiences. Each element is selected with intention. Exotic flowers, often impossible to bloom at the same time, are brought together into a single composition. This alone signals wealth, because such flowers were rare and expensive. Then come the hunting trophies, dead birds, hares, and game animals. These are not symbols of violence, but of aristocratic privilege. Hunting was reserved for the elite. To display it in art was to align oneself with power. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of Van Aelst's work is tension. Everything feels balanced, yet slightly unstable. A fruit on the edge of falling. A ribbon loosely hanging. A composition that seems to breathe. This controlled imbalance creates a subtle anxiety. The viewer is drawn in, not just to admire, but to anticipate. This is where psychology enters the equation. Everything feels balanced, yet slightly unstable. A fruit on the edge of falling. A ribbon loosely hanging. A composition that seems to breathe. This controlled imbalance creates a subtle anxiety. The viewer is drawn in, not just to admire, but to anticipate. This is where psychology enters the equation. Collectors are not just buying beauty, they are buying presence. A Van Aelst painting does not shout, it whispers. And that whisper creates intimacy. It demands close viewing. It rewards attention. Technically, his control over light is extraordinary. The dark backgrounds are not empty. They are active spaces. They isolate the subject, forcing focus. Highlights are placed with precision, guiding the eye across the surface. This is not decoration, this is design. And that is why Van Aelst still matters today. In the contemporary art market, where collectors are constantly searching for works that combine aesthetic value with historical significance, Van Aelst stands out. His paintings are not just beautiful artifacts, they are systems of meaning. They communicate across centuries. They speak of mortality through vanitas symbolism, flowers that will wilt, animals that have died, objects that will decay. But at the same time, they speak of permanence, because the painting itself survives. This paradox is powerful. It places the collector in a unique position. Owning such a work is not just about possession, it is about participation in a historical narrative. You are not just buying a painting, you are inheriting a perspective. And perhaps that is the real reason why Willem van Aelst continues to attract attention. Not because he painted flowers better than others, but because he understood something deeper, that art, at its highest level, is never just about what you see. It is about what it allows you to become.